Sherry Bilhay, and I'm the CEO of the Trinity Local Aboriginal Land Council. I'd like to firstly congratulate all the land councils on their achievements since the last statewide conference. There's certainly been some wonderful success stories throughout the region showing strong growth within the land council system. So congratulations to all the regions, all the land councils. Trinity would love to have some sand hills, the same as Andrew Smith. What a wonderful business he's got out there. The objective of today is to provide you with just a taste of the many wonderful initiatives within our region. So, firstly, I respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners of the country, the elders past, present and future, and am honoured to be meeting here with you at this special event. The area around here is just beautiful. The wineries, we took a drive last night over to the Hunter Valley Gardens and spent the night over there. Had a nice long walk around the gardens, which was great after all the food that we've been eating. We walked right down really well. I commenced working with the Trinity Local Aboriginal Land Council in 2007. My employment was for 3 months in an admin role. I had a background which was very basic, just banking, account management and human resources. I built my skills through learning on the job and now I've been with the Land Council for 11 years. Through that 11 years I've seen a lot of challenges that the Land Council's gone through, but we've also had a lot of successes as well. I'm supported by 7 board members that show great commitment to the growth of the Land Council and support my sometimes crazy ideas, but they mostly have positive benefits to the community. Councillor Stephen Ryan is our elected representative, and although he's not able to be here with us this week, I'd like to acknowledge his commitment to the land rights over many years and obviously to the Central Region, which is also part of the traditional country, his traditional country. He's been a strong and supportive advocate for our region and thoroughly deserves our collective acknowledgement for being a land rights champion. We wish him well soon and hope he's relieved of the pain he's currently experiencing with his knees. Our region is made up of 9 land councils and has a significant Aboriginal population showing high growth in the Dubbo Regional Centre. We have diverse economies, face similar issues to other regions such as high unemployment, high levels of incarceration, overcrowding and shortages of housing and financial struggles that the families go through every week. But we're very optimistic that our young people will have benefit to greater opportunities in the future. We are also significantly impacted upon at the moment by the drought. It's been devastating for many of our communities with loss of employment and financial stability, and the flow-on is very evident in our daily life. Given these various circumstances, the one area we'll always remain strong and optimistic about is the unwavering connection to our culture and heritage. The map shows the Central Local Aboriginal Land Council boundaries, and although it doesn't give great detail, we believe the Central West of New South Wales is a place to live, work and raise your family. And of course we consider it to be number 1. As mentioned in the Northwest Region presentation, since the last statewide conference, we've had a change in leadership with Tony Sutherland leaving the helm. Tony worked as the Director of the Western Zone Office of New South Wales Aboriginal Land Council for 10 years, and we'd like to thank him for his efforts and contribution during that time. Tony was a strong advocate of good governance, and during his leadership saw marked improvements in the management of the land councils under his charge. Peter Gibbs is now the Zone Director for Western Zone, and we wish him every success in his role. Oh, sorry. So we've got the knockout. Sorry, some of the wording's gone from the heading. Our region was grateful for another opportunity to have the single largest celebration of Aboriginal sport and culture come to town. Although Dubbo was the central host of the event, many of our surrounding communities were able to share in the economic benefit as well. Our sincere gratitude to the 2018 hosts, the Newcastle Yowies, for selecting Dubbo to host the showcase. We at Central Region believe Dubbo is the right location, and there aren't too many centres that can boast of the facilities being available for such a large event. This well-organised event is in part managed by Dubbo Lauk representative Grace Toomey and her family. Her dedication to making the event run smoothly is commendable and well worth acknowledgement. Some important information I would like to share with you post-knockout. In terms of economic benefit, and this is based on Dubbo Regional Council modelling, it's estimated the following injection to the Dubbo region from visitors across the knockout weekend: $1.3 million from day trippers, $1.25 million from overnight visitors, upwards of $2.55 million injection into the local economy in total. The New South Wales Police published an article in the Daily Liberal which literally gave their thumbs up to the organisation of the event and reported that there were no crimes committed during the entire weekend that could be directly attributed to the event. One of the small goods suppliers were happy to report that they did not run out of Devon like they did in 2015. Well done. Congratulations. Congratulations to the event winners, the Newcastle All Blacks. It was a great breakthrough after some heartbreak runners-up performances over the past few years. Our photos also depict the young Burke Warriors who were beaten in extra time by the All Blacks in a semi-final. That's quite a feat for a town of less than 3,000 people, so we think they might be serious contenders in the future, so watch out, the All Blacks. Just a collective message to the All Blacks: if you can't find suitable facilities, partners for 2019, the Dubbo Regional Council have the red carpet rolled up and ready to go. Bretonneux. One of the features of my presentation today features our small community of Warren. Warren Macquarie, Lauk CEO Keith Redman, has been instrumental in the development of the Bretonneux Reserve on the outskirts of the small community of Warren in central west New South Wales. NSWALC media was able to capture this.
You'll see a walking trail. It's done the way it's done. It looks rough, but it's done that way to blend in. We don't want no paths or bitumen or anything, concrete. You'll see where plaques where families lived, and this is the type. This is actually where they lived out here. Many families, and you get to see and then just enjoy this quiet, beautiful space out here.
And I moved around here when I got married in 59, as I said, 59, 60, and lived here right up until about 75, I think it was. Yeah, 75, when we moved into town. And it's just a beautiful place. Yeah, beautiful place.
Well, I was born here in Warren. My mum and dad lived in Walgett in the 50s. My brother was born over there, and they come back here when he was 2, and then I was born. And I was born at the Warren Hospital, and I lived out here right up until I was about 14, 16. Mum and Dad had to get the big 44-gallon drums on a trailer and go into town and get water.
We used to skip rope, draw in the sand, play marbles with the boys, you know, and cricket and rounders, and we had heaps of fun like that. Played well together, swim in the creek, and used to go yabbying and walk along the edge of the river and end up with leeches all over us. And
My Uncle Paul teaching me to swim in the floodwaters. He took me out onto the tree and he said, you swim or you drown. But he wouldn't have let me drown. But he taught me to swim in the floodwaters, and I still remember that day. He took me out in the middle and said, swim back or drown. But that's how we were. That's how we were brought up. You know, you got to be tough.
Younger generation, grandkids, and they'll be able to come out here and have a look and say that's where Nan and Pop lived. Yeah. Grew up when Mum and Dad grew up. Very good.
This place belongs to the Aboriginal community, you know. This is our place. It doesn't belong to anyone else, it belongs to us.
I'd live out here tomorrow if they let me. Even roll a swag out here, mate. Camp out here in the open air.
It's well done to the Warren Land Council, and I think they've got stage 2 coming up of that project. The NSWALC report. Their NAIDOC celebrations for all of us is so important, and we need to ensure that we continue to support this annual celebration. NAIDOC was celebrated in September with a unity walk, an opening ceremony, community day and dinner, all held on Monday the 24th. Over 250 people joined the walk, and 50 children participated in the dancing at the opening ceremony. The community day was a great success, with service providers and community coming together, and the children winning the fishing competition was a big success. Over 100 people from community and visitors to town attended the dinner, which was a celebration of our 10 years of successful NAIDOC weeks. These photos demonstrate that the NAIDOC was indeed a celebration. Well done to Ningen. So I was asked to talk about the Wungunja Cultural Centre, and this has been a project that Tringy's been working on for quite some years. On the 28th of July 2017, the Tringy Local Aboriginal Land Council opened the Wungunja Cultural Centre, Centre of Education, History, Culture and Healing. The purpose of establishing this centre was to increase the Aboriginal knowledge and the cultural history of the Tringy community and district. The idea of establishing a cultural centre for Tringy first came about when a local farmer spoke to me about getting 2 carved burial trees back to country. These trees were removed in the 1960s from a local property known as Malar, which sits along the Macquarie River and within the Tringy boundaries. After being removed from the property, the trees were kept at the Australian Museum in Sydney. The concept and planning for a cultural centre commenced in 2011 by talking with members, including the idea as a strategy and goal in our community land business plan, and setting out to find a place to purchase that would be suitable to be used as a cultural centre, as well as holding cultural significance. The NSWALC gave themselves a time frame of 5 years for this process. We were then successful in tendering for the purchase of the then Scout Hall and Rovers Den. The Rovers Den was built in 1930s, providing a place for the rovers of the Tringy Scout Association to meet. During the 1950s and the 1960s, the small pine hut, which you'll see in the photos, was used for accommodation. Aboriginal people and families lived in the hut, which was commonly used for what we think was emergency accommodation, so they were there for short term only. But if you saw the hut, if you visit Tringy and come out and have a look, it's probably about, 3 metres by 3 metres, and a family of 6 lived in that hut for a couple of weeks. Because of Aboriginal families living in the hut, it gave the Land Council significance in purchasing the property. We established budgets from the NSWALC's retained funding to cover the costs of the renovations required for the centre, and with the help of the New South Wales Aboriginal Land Council Community Fund grant of $50,000, we were able to go one step further, installing irrigation systems, beautiful display cabinets, air conditioning, just to name a few items. Talks began as well with the Office of Environment and Heritage and the Australian Museum, and with the help of John Duggan and Phil Gordon, the process of having the burial trees returned to country began. The Trengi Board and members made the decision to have the trees returned on a long-term loan to protect the ownership of the trees. The Wungunja Cultural Centre also has a wonderful display of cultural artefacts that are on long-term loan from the Office of Environment and Heritage. These items have been collected loosely, predominantly from central west of New South Wales. The LALC also have their own collection of approximately 1,200 items. Since opening in 2017, we've already increased the number of display cabinets in the centre. Museums and galleries were able to help with a small grant of $2,000, which was put towards the cost of the cabinets as well. The centre displays wonderful and emotional stories about our Aboriginal soldiers who served for our country, holds invaluable family history records which include family trees, photos and a variety of historical documents, Aboriginal art and merchandise. During the third term, we partnered with TAFE New South Wales to deliver a Wiradjuri language course, which we also hold at the centre. Our local schools have shown strong support for the centre, with their Aboriginal dancers often performing at events, something that is truly a great experience for visitors. We've had school holiday activity programs that included building an Aboriginal shelter that is on display, Aboriginal art workshops and gardening days. The Trengi Central School recently took part in an arts program called Carved Up. This program saw children participate in workshops to develop designs for 2 tree stumps that have been placed at the entrance to the centre. These trees represent the 2 different Aboriginal groups, Wiradjuri and Wongerbon people, who many years ago lived on the Macquarie River and the Bogan River. The trees standing together now represent these families now living in harmony within one community. We are now the official information centre of Trengi. We have employed a trainee in tourism to look after the centre from 10 till 3 weekdays, and volunteers have given up their precious time to keep the doors open during the weekends. Since opening weekdays, we've already seen visiting numbers increase, and we look forward to further increases in the future. This increased tourism is expected to make a difference to our community by improving the economy in our town and opening up employment opportunities. Our community will also benefit from the educational programs that we will in time make available on Aboriginal culture and history. This will help those to reconnect to their history and their family. Where do we go from here? The Trengi Board and members are looking at increasing the size of the cultural centre to bring in more of the town's history. This will mean looking at funding opportunities, talks with local shire councils, community members and progressing to the planning stage. We're also keen to start a cultural tour which will bring in other places of interest throughout the central west of New South Wales. More school visits so that the children can learn about Aboriginal history and develop an understanding of how skilled the Aboriginal people were without current day technology, and to learn about the local stories that are held within the centre so these stories can be shared. The Trengi Local Aboriginal Land Council are very proud of the Wungunja Cultural Centre, and we hope that our visitors to town enjoy this unique place as much as we do. And we invite everyone that's here to come and say hi if you're ever in our neck of the woods. We'd love to see you, and we'd love you to share our centre with you. ANZAC. In finishing my presentation, can I please take this opportunity to acknowledge the effort of our zone staff member, Mr. Joe Flick, and NSWALC for their support of Joe to continue the struggle around recognition of our former servicemen, particularly those that never came home. Their stories should never be forgotten, and anyone who has witnessed Joe's presentation on these stories would certainly share that his passion, commitment, pride on this issue cannot be questioned. Most of you that have heard Joe talk about his visits to France will know you need a box of tissues as you always end up in tears. Private Sylvester Sullivan, a Trengi man, serial number 7879, ACCA, or Private Darcy Wills. Joe is currently working on a project that is very special to his heart and will have an immense effect on families of fallen Aboriginal soldiers that have not been returned home to their land. The Bring Them Home project, when finalised, will see Joe hold ceremonies where fallen soldiers are currently buried in overseas countries, followed by ceremonies in community throughout Australia to bring the spirits of these men home to country. We would like to support Joe in his endeavours to get this project going and would like to invite other Lauks to support this program also. Sylvester, our Trengi soldier, died on the 23rd of August 1918 and is buried at Heath Cemetery, Habernez, France. There's also Private William Allen Irwin, DCM serial number 792 from Burra Badee at Coonabarabran. William died on the 1st of September 1918 and is buried at Douar Communal Cemetery, France. In finishing, we have a photo of Joe with the then Prime Minister of Australia, Malcolm Turnbull, at Villers, Bretonneux, France, ANZAC Day 2018. Joe's done such a wonderful job and is very, very passionate about his visits to visit the fallen soldiers. And I just get emotional thinking about it myself because he has me in tears every time we talk. So if you know of any funding out there for this program, we would love you to support it. We want the spirits of our soldiers to come home. So thank you very much.